I have this collection of videos that I would like to update to make use of the current Camtasia Studio Smart Player controls. However, with respect to any of these videos, I no longer have the project that was used to create the videos. That's because I lost all my records when one of my external hard drives failed. Fortunately, I can recover information associated with interactive objects within these videos, such as table of contents, captions, hotspots, and quizzes, by extracting the information from the config.xml file or the config.xml.js file. If the video had been hosted on screencast.com instead of a regular website, you wouldn't have all these files in the production file set. You'd only have the MP4. Fortunately, you can also extract the required metadata from the MP4. I can use that extracted information to rebuild a new project by putting the original MP4 in the timeline and building everything around that. However, that is an extremely laborious and time-consuming process. Fortunately, there is a shortcut that I can use to reconstitute the original video using the new player by extracting the metadata for the interactive objects directly from the MP4 and hacking basically the config.xml.js file using Beyond Compare to reconstitute this file so that when the video is played after an updated production, all the interactive content will be available. To begin, I need to copy the original MP4 file, which is currently housed on an external hard drive. So I'll go Control-C, and I'm going to move it to my local system drive. And I use a folder called Active Project, so it's Control-V. Next, we'll go to an instance of Beyond Compare. I'm going to go to a folder view of the folder where I put that file. I'll do a F5 to refresh. And then I'm going to right click and open the MP4 with a hex compare. Now what I'm going to try to do is extract the equivalent of the metadata from this hex view of the file. And I'll do that by opening the Find dialog. And I'm going to be navigating to this tag. This is the ending tag of where the XMP metadata resides within this MP4. So I already have that loaded, so I'll just click Next. This is the end tag. I will put the cursor at the end of that tag, and then holding Shift and using Page Up, I'll walk the file until I find the beginning of that metadata. So basically I'm looking for the start tag, and that's going to appear just before all this gibberish. And I see it right now coming up, and I've now selected the XMP metadata from within the hex compare. I'll copy it to my clipboard, Control-C. Then I'm going to navigate to an instance of Notepad++, and then it's Control-V to paste that there. First thing we're going to do here is save this file, so it's Control-S, and I'm going to call this 09, and we're going to save this as a .js file. Enter key. I next have to make some edits to this file. One thing I have to do is put a slash at the end of each line. This is required to make it compatible with the one that'll be produced when I produce the MP4 again. So we're going to use, with the cursor at the top, Control-H, find replace, and I'm going to look for a $sign, or basically any line, and I'm going to replace it with a line plus a slash. That's the way this is going to work, and we'll use the regular expression function in Notepad++. Then I'll click Replace All. We did it 68 times. Next, I need to find and replace any instances of apostrophes with a string that's a slash and then an apostrophe. So we'll look for a single apostrophe, and we're going to replace that with a slash apostrophe. This will be a normal find replace, and once I made those selections here, I'll click replace all. Looks like there were 9 apostrophes in this thing. Now we're going to clean up the player. This command is telling the player to open a new video. When you click a hotspot in a new window, I don't want to do that. I want to use this. So it opens in the same window. Again, normal, replace all. Should get 1, we did. Now I'm going to clean up some extraneous text in the captions configuration, and we'll use this selection string, and I want to replace that with nothing, so I'll make sure there's nothing there. Again, normal, replace all. Looks like we did 8, and there's another character we have to get rid of. That's the ending tag for the one we just deleted. Again, replace these with nothing. Normal, replace all. Again, we get another 8. That completes my required edits, so I'm just going to close this. If I navigate to the end of this file, I have to manually delete this slash that was added and replace it with a single apostrophe, semicolon. That's required to format it properly to match the file we're going to be merging it with. So I'll save this, Control S, and then I'll close this file. Next, in an instance of Camtasia, I'll import the MP4 file that we extracted the metadata from. So that's Control I. There it is. Enter key. And I'll put that on the timeline. I'm going to do Control Shift 7 to shrink it down a little bit. I'm going to navigate to the end of this MP4. What I'm looking for is some callouts that I have in the original video. And there they are. I'm going to walk back with the left caret key on the keyboard. That's the same as the comma key. Until I locate where those callouts didn't show, then I'll go back to the right with the period key or the right caret key. And at that location, I'll use Shift Q to add a quiz placeholder. I need to do that because when I produce this project, I need to make sure the project knows that it has a quiz in it. Otherwise, the production won't have the right configuration. So with the quiz placeholder in place, I need to name the project, and to do that, I'm going to go select my MP4 F2, Control C, back to Camtasia, Control S for save, Control V, save it. And now our project is the same name as our MP4. And the next step is to produce this, so that's Control P, custom production, yes. MP4, yes. And if I wanted to, I could zip through these, but these are all correct anyway. I'll do next. No watermark because it's already here. Next. Quiz information. That looks good. Next. Name, location, etc. Finish. And I'm going to stop this capture while it produces. Okay, it's finished. And we're back in Camtasia. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this project. I don't need it anymore. So that's Alt-F, Enter key. Yeah, I'll keep the changes, but I won't use the project again. These are the files that were created by that production. If we launch the video using this HTML, we can see that it has a quiz. That's because of the way it started. I'll close this. If I play the video, as the sun was getting ready to get the speaker off, there's no TOC. There's, according to the player here, there's no table of contents. There's no captions. There is a quiz point here. I'm going to click down here and play at the quiz. And if I take the quiz, I just get the default quiz format. That's because the only thing we did in the project that was used to make this video was we added a quiz placeholder, but there's no answers, questions, etc. So if I click this and continue, we go right on past my hotspots and we're at the end, and of course there's nothing there. I'm back in the folder where the MP4 was originally stored. Here's the .js file that we saved and edited. I'm going to right click, select left file for compare. Then I'm going to go to the folder where we did the production. That's right here. Open that file. We need to edit this file in the production set. Right click. I'm going to compare it to the other file. Now I just need to merge parts of the left file over to the right. So I'm going to, first off, make a selection here in this big yellow block. Shift end. I'll click the little gutter arrow to put it all over the right side. Now that part of the file over here matches this one. Then I'll go down and we'll send the playhead home. With the cursor back to the left side, I'll click this arrow to copy that line over, and I'll click this arrow to copy that line over. That takes care of everything I need to copy. I cannot and should not copy anything up here because I need to retain the new metadata related to the updated production, not the one that was created some time ago. So with those changes made to the right side, I'll save the file. And if I go back to my output folder, see Alt up arrow, there's the launch file, click the enter key, and it plays. If I start this, I'll turn the speaker off. If I start this, I now have all my interactive content, which is table of contents, and I'll close that out. There's my captions. I can hide those. And if we go back to the TOC, click this item, it takes me to the quiz. There's all the quiz information, and I can run through all these real quick just to get to the end of the quiz, since I can't skip it. Then we go to our hotspots, and to make sure they work, I can click one of them. Takes me back in time to where that was, and that looks good. And I can re-click this item. Click the skip button. Takes me on to the end of the video, and I have a final hotspot here that if I click will take me to the next video in series. So that's how that works. And with just a few minutes work, I basically cheated Mother Nature and updated an older production without a project to the new player look, which is what you're looking at here, and was able to recover all the interactive content that normally would have taken me many, many man hours to hand enter into that project we used to produce this video.